Welcome to the space where creators have aligned a positive and intellectual collab of open minds. For sharing and learning from one another, it's a vibe. ReadswithRosa podcast on the mic. Subscribe, educator spitting bars. I guess you didn't know I'm multifaceted and humble, checking off life goals. The classroom is my comfort zone where I plant and sow seeds of knowledge, compassion, empathy, and hope. Reading is the key to unlocking your potential. Countless benefits, including cognitive and mental. Regardless of the genre, books are highly influential. Go get yours, I'll get mine. Making strides, monumental. Come rock with me and get down to this new jam. Reaching out to my friends, I had a very simple plan. Educate the masses through books and life lessons. It's the grand slam. I'm out. Tala Falava and welcome to the Reads with Rosa podcast. Today's guest is a Pasifika printmaker and artist whose products are all handmade and handcrafted. She is a mother and a one-woman small business based in Sydney, Australia. I'm a huge fan of her work, which is why I was really excited that she said yes to coming on the podcast. She is the artist behind Ula&HerBrothers. It is my honor to welcome to the show, Noelle Moana. How are you, sis? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you for that introduction.
This is crazy.
And Rosa, thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm nervous. I'm telling myself, don't say anything stupid. But no, I'm really honored to be here. So thank you very much.
You know, like I said offline, I'm buzzing. I'm so excited that you're here. It's an honor to have you on the show. And I just, I love putting your work on blast. And it's so special that you said yes.
Yes, thank you.
I'm coming.
Thank you. Like, I appreciate your support. Like, I'm so grateful for your support. Thank you.
Aww. So, well, Noelle, we like to always give the opportunity to the guest to introduce themselves. Brief intro, you can shout out your people or villages. Go ahead.
My name is Noelle Moa. I'm Sāmoan. My mum is from Vaimoso in Upolu, and my dad is from Saliusi in Upolu. I was born and raised in Kingsland in central Auckland. And then in the early 90s, we joined the Brown Flight out of central Auckland, and we moved to Avondale when I was about 15. And now we live here in Sydney on Dharawal land, and we've been here almost 20 years. Yeah, so this is home now. Still miss home. New Zealand, Okalangi will always be home, but Sydney is home now.
Oh, well, thank you, Noelle, for that introduction. I have so many questions, not just about your craft and artistry, but also just, I read on a recent interview, or maybe it wasn't recent, but I did search and do some research for this, and I read that you always say, first and foremost, you're a mother. So I guess what better place to start than that? So you are a mum. What does a regular day look like for you?
A regular day? I'm a mum of 5. So a regular day starts at about 5:30. I get up and make all my kids' lunches, get them ready for school, and then I go off to work, and then I come back. I work on my Ula&HerBrothers work, and then it's school pickups and home, dinner, homework, and then I come back into my little studio. I do some more work. I work on orders or commissions, or I've got some projects that I'm working on, and then it's bed, and then it's repeat.
Wow. How do you think your kids would describe you?
I think they would describe me as that I just love them. Like my children, they're my life. I mean, Ula&HerBrothers is named after my children. When I made the decision to give this a go, I was trying to think of a name for my business, and my brief for myself was that it had to be a name that reflected who I am, and I'm a mama first and foremost. So I have 4 boys, and Ula is our lucky last. So that's where my name comes from, Ula and her brothers. So they would describe me as just as their mama. I'll do anything for them, and hopefully they will say I'm fun. I am a disciplinarian as well. I can be firm and very strict, but yeah, that in a nutshell.
Love that. Where does your love for art and creating come from?
I've just I've always loved art. Like I've always since childhood. I can't remember a time that I haven't made art. Like I've always making a mess. I've always had a pencil, a crayon, coloring pencils, felt tips, paintbrush, and now carving tools in my hand. So I know that I think genetically, I know that my grandmother, my dad's mom, I know that she made fallas and she was a weaver. So I think maybe that I get a bit of that from her side as well. And then I learned also that my maternal grandmother, she was always making paper flowers for the church in Samoa. She was always crafting. So I think I get a bit of that from both my paternal and maternal grandmothers, and it's just something that's always been within me. It's just innate. It's something that I've always, like, without the risk of sounding wanky, it's just something that I've always had to do. Like I have to make art.
When people refer to you as an artist, which you are in your own right, how does that make you feel?
It's only now that I'm getting comfortable with the term artist. I think I've always had an issue with it. I never really felt that I was, even though my children, my husband, everyone would say that I am. But when I hear that, it makes me feel good. It's yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So you've told us the inspiration behind the name Ula and her brothers, the meaning, very important. What about the small business? Like, why start a small business? Like, was it like, when did you finally make the decision? Like, of course, like you've said, you've always created in some form, but what took you down that path of, hey, small business, let's do this?
Well, I've always like, say for example, birthdays, weddings, I'd always make my own greeting cards because I could never find the perfect greeting card. I could never find the card that I wanted. So a few years ago, I was visiting a friend of mine from back home. She's living here now. So we went over with some gifts and I made her card. And then we were talking on the phone, and she said that she had my card on her bookshelf, and her mother-in-law had come over and pointed at the card and was like, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And she told her that her friend made it. And then her mother-in-law asked her, like, where can she buy my cards? Like, where do I sell them? So then I thought, you know what, maybe I'll give it a go, because I got tired of like walking into stores and not being able to find that card that I wanted. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. I make my own cards, and I'll see if people will respond to it. And yeah, thankfully they have.
The rest is history, huh?
Yeah.
I was wondering about skills. I mean, I'm thinking as you're explaining your regular day, I've been so curious about when you find time
to make your art. You know, I see what you post and I'm just like, man, it's amazing. But then when I had to ask about what does a regular day, but I'm like, you know, like, it's not just like, of course you find time to make it, but the skills that go into it, like you make textiles, hand bound books, you make printed cards, lino cut prints, you make a whole bunch of stuff. So where do those skills come from? Now I know you've said it just comes, you know, it comes naturally. You've kind of alluded to that. It's always been a part of who you are. It's probably in your blood. But where do you pick up all those different skills from? Like, did you do some training, or is it really just the passion and drive and you're just self-taught? Like everything is self-taught?
Self-taught. So I was primarily a painter, and then I did lino printing back in high school, and I loved it, but I never carried it on after high school because I didn't have the tools. And then a couple of years ago, I was at my local art supply store, and I walked past a set of carving tools that was on special, and I thought, oh, you know, let's go back and, you know, rekindle this love that I had for lino printing back in high school. And so I bought the carving set and I bought some lino plates, and my first few carvings weren't that great. I made a lot of mistakes, so it was trying to get that, you know, that muscle memory back, you know, working again. And it was just through practicing and through a lot of trial and error. And like I said, like I watched and followed a lot of other printmakers, and I studied like their techniques. And I got, you know, printmaking books out, and I studied it, and then, you know, I just kept going, and that's, you know, so I just continually honing my craft. I mean, when I look back on my old carvings from about 7-8 years ago, like, no, wouldn't pass the quality test today. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm still learning, and, you know, like I said, still honing my craft.
Who are some artists, or who are some people that inspire you to create what you create?
I was really lucky. Well, we were lucky. When I say we, I mean like my generation. We were really lucky to witness the emergence of the contemporary Pacific art, you know, onto the art scene back in Auckland. So, when I started high school, you had Fatu Fe'u was emerging as a new artist in Auckland. So there was Fatu Fe'u and Ioane, Lily Laita, Felipe Tohi, Michael Tuffrey. So I remember when I first saw Fatu Fe'u's works, it was like an explosion, like just seeing this Sāmoan artist works. And I think the first time I saw his works, I should have actually checked, but I'm thinking it was at the Aotea Centre, and I saw his paintings, and I remember just standing there for a long time, just staring at his works. I was just mesmerized. And then I think it was my 7th form year, the late Jim Viva Aide's Bottled Ocean exhibition was at the Auckland Art Gallery. I think it was 94. And that was just, I felt like it gave me permission to try and be be an artist if I could. So it was those pioneers that really, you know, sparked that love. Like I already loved making art, didn't really know where I was going, but then when I saw these artists, like I said, Fatu Fe'u, Ioane, Lyle Benisula, and his dad, Johnny Benisula, when I saw their works, I was like, wow, that's what I want to do.
You know, art is a form of storytelling. And when you think about what you create, like, what are some stories that you've been able to tell through your creations? Mm.
Well, everything that I make, has some kind of meaning and some kind of significance behind it for me. Like I don't just carve a hibiscus because it's pretty. It's got meaning. Like for example, I have greeting cards with the mackerel fish, and the reason why I carve it is because it just brings back so many memories of me of eating, tin mackerel in tomato sauce with the fa'i and with my grandmother. So that was, like everything. Like I said, everything I make has some kind of meaning behind it for me. So I bring all of that into my work because I love what I do. I want to show that within everything, whether it's a greeting card or a bookmark, like I said, everything has meaning for me, and I hope that translates into what I put out there.
Okay, so this is something I have always been curious about. You have an Etsy shop. Okay. So I need you to just like share that wealth of knowledge that you have, what you've learned with Etsy. So how did you navigate Etsy and set up your online shop? Was that something you kind of already knew about, or did you actually research and have to do a whole lot of testing? Yeah.
I did a bit of research. I just looking at other printmakers and seeing what platforms that they were selling their works on, whether they had their own website or if they were selling on Etsy or other e-commerce platforms. And I saw that a lot of them were on Etsy, and mainly because Etsy has so much traffic. It's huge. But but the one thing with Etsy though, and a lot of other artists have an issue with the fees. They can be pretty pricey. But navigating the whole site, it wasn't too bad because I'm very, like I was saying in my email, one of my emails that I sent you, I'm very technologically inept. And when I say inept, I mean just like caveman. Like I'm terrible. Like I had my son on standby. I was like, please stand by in case I have problems with trying to, with the link. But that was, for someone like me, Etsy was, very easy to navigate. But yeah, one of the great things, like I said, with Etsy is that it has a lot of, it's huge. It's global. It brings a lot of traffic, and it's been great. Yeah.
I mean, can you give any tips for someone who is perhaps starting out their small business and wants to kind of like explore that as an option? Like, what are some tips that you can give perhaps that you wish you had when you were starting out? Like someone was giving you tips, like, you know.
You mean like on Etsy and selling?
Yeah. So, if say I was interested, like what useful information tips would you give me to kind of like make the transition smoother, or things that super important need to know before kind of diving in?
Yeah. Well, one thing is what do you call it? Product photography. I think that's really important. Like making sure that your photos stand out. Like I spend a lot of time styling my products and just making sure that everything looks as cohesive, that nothing looks out of place. So that's one tip, and I think that's really important. Like just taking really good photos of your works, and just tips. Etsy, it's a really good starting place. If before you want to venture out and build your own website, like it's user friendly. It's very, very easy to navigate. The only issues are just the shipping fees, but otherwise, it's it's really good. And that's really pretty much it's my only tips. Really.
Yeah, that's a very useful tip. So my question for you is, so you're a photographer as well.
With my
like how
phone.
I mean that man, that is yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, do you do tutorials online in order, or are you just kind of like practicing as you go, learning as you go
Oh yeah,
to
learning as I
for that
go.
product placement and like getting the
Yeah.
right lighting? Oh,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like natural lighting, versus like artificial lighting. It's natural lighting is always the best, obviously. But yeah, a lot of those things I've just been learning as I go and winging it and hoping that it works.
So with your regular schedule, being a mum, super important. Number one, when you're doing commission work, how do you then, because you probably have deadlines to meet, how do you manage that? Because can I just mention again, if you're listening and watching, Noelle is a one woman small business owner. Um, she's a mum, but then on the side you've got I don't want to say it's a side hustle. You're on the side, you've got this business that you're trying to run, you've got commissioned works, you're sending out packages and things like that. Like, where do you find the balance, especially when you're meeting deadlines, if and when you have deadlines?
Um, well, I'm lucky that I've got my kids are easy to take care of. My husband, like, he understands that when I do have commissions and when I've got a deadline, he takes things on board and allows me, you know, allows me to be able to like come down to my studio and just be down here for however long I need to work on, certain commissions. And then it's also just no sleep.
Oh,
You know,
no
no,
sleep.
no, sleep, go to bed late, wake up early until I get it done. Yeah.
What is your creative process like? Like, do you have a notebook where you're just designing things? Are you someone who designs online before you go to your tools? Like, what does your creative process look like? I've been so curious because I feel like I've been following you for the longest time, and I'm always looking at your page going, wow, like where does she get? I want to know what comes right up before the end product, which looks amazing, by the way,
My creative process. So
Mm,
I do have sketchbooks. I always
mm,
carry around a sketchbook and a couple of notebooks in my bag. So if I get an idea or if I'm inspired by something that I see or hear, I can quickly jot it down. But most times I carry it around in my head, and
ah,
most times I'm too impatient to try and sketch it out. So I'll just draw it straight onto my carving block, and I've wasted a few carving blocks because I don't try to like sketch out a plan first. I jump straight in there and I'm like, oh no. But that's pretty much it. I carry it around in my head until I can like um, throw it out
mm.
onto a carving block and then start carving.
I want to touch upon your, you know, I, identity, culture, uh, and I'm wondering, like, what values or teachings inform that artwork or the things that you're creating. You've kind of alluded a little bit to some of, the way that you practice and create, but are there specific like values that kind of like inform everything you do around Ula and her brothers?
First of all, as you can see in my work, being Sāmoan, that
Mm,
informs everything that I do. That informs my whole entire body of work. So it's just and like I was saying before, a lot of it is imbued with like meanings and memories and things that are important to me. So I when I create, I have all those in mind, and I'm always conscious that my children see what I create. So I'm respectful of, my family as well as, the our people that, who are my target audience, and making sure that it's always just always respectful and of everything.
So I was wondering about pricing, like for a business owner, a small business owner at that, how do you go about deciding on pricing? Is it, yeah, I mean, I imagine it's challenging,
It is
difficult.
very challenging. It is very challenging. It's yeah, I'm really terrible with pricing, and like your episode with Fipe and Living Coco, like like I was saying, what she talked about, having to change your money mentality, and realizing, having to come to that realization that not everyone thinks like her. And that's how
Mm.
I am too. I'm always thinking, oh no, I can't price it too expensive, for someone else. But I have to change that mindset. I get told a lot that I undersell my works, that I need to increase my prices more to reflect the labor that goes into it,
Yes.
and there is a lot of labor that goes into my works. Like I said, I'd be like, come up with a design, and then I carve it, I carve all my designs. So for example, with my notebooks, I hand cut every single page, I hand print every single cover, and then I bind them all together. And it's a lot of work, and I'm told constant told constantly that I undersell those works. So that's something that I grapple with a lot. But I do realize, no, I need to, my prices need to reflect everything that goes into it. The labor, the time, just everything. So it is something that I struggle with.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because I feel like, as I'm listening to you, and I've heard like if we think about like artists, like musicians, right? So you always hear a lot of our musicians, like people want to hire them, but they don't want to pay, like it's like someone, it's their livelihood, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's their craft, it's their artistry, it's their livelihood.
Yeah.
I don't know that too many people in this day and age are just out there making music for fun. I mean, of course, it's
Yeah.
a huge part of it, but performance wise, like I feel like a lot of our people, it's like we want to uplift our people, but then we don't want to pay. Like we don't want to
Yeah.
like. And when you're talking and that whole like you're like the labor that goes into the work, it just made me think about musicians. Like people love them, but they just don't want to pay. But if it was a Balangi artist,
Yeah.
they would pull out
Yes.
all stops. And
Yeah.
it kind of like when you're talking, I'm like, yeah, it's the same thing, right? Like we all love our people, but it's at the same time the labor and hard work. Now, if you think about it, if you were going to a normal, like a general market, like in your local community that wasn't perhaps just for Pacifica, people would pay, like people
Yeah.
would pay the
Yeah.
money
And
for your goods. Like if they see your goods, I'm like, yo, that would, do you know what I mean? So,
I had so a business based in Auckland. She DM'd me, and
mm,
she said, "Hey, I was looking at your store." And she goes, "You're underselling your work," and
mm,
I wasn't offended. And she said, "You need to like increase your prices because
mm,
you're selling them. It's you're underselling your stuff." And then I gave her the same argument that I want to make my works accessible.
mm,
I price my my work so low, because I want it to reach a lot of households. And
mm,
then she said to me, um, if they can't afford your work, then they're not the right kind of customer for you.
mm,
Oh, okay. And then I tell you, I've had a lot of I get a lot of messages from our people who um, who ask for wholesale prices, and I don't do wholesale prices because I price my work low enough as it is. And when I've said, oh, okay, well, how many, how many notebooks or how many units are you looking at buying? And they say 5. And I'm like,
oh, rude.
Wholesale price for 5.
Yeah,
So
but this is what we're talking about, right? Like, you have to. I mean, I get what that. Yeah, the the person that DM'd you like that. I get how they said like you're definitely underselling, and if that's just not the right market, like I also understand what you're saying about you want it to be accessible, but then it's also the hard work. It's also the labor. It's the time, the
yeah,
effort, the hours that people don't see. They just want a discount because they've seen.
yes,
Like
yeah,
it's like you're a good singer, but could we like get half? Like our people are just like that's the tough side. That's the bad thing is like
yeah,
they just they will support you, but not to the point where they're like paying what you're worth. It's like, what are you worth? What is your art and craft worth? Like if they're like coming out and like wholesale but 5 unit, what on earth is that? That is so le mafofo right now. Like who the hell is this le mafs person right now? You better go and get your notebooks from the warehouse or from Kmart. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't have it both ways. Like
yeah. But yeah, I'm at that point now though where I do finally, I know my worth.
you are worth it. Yes.
I know, I know my stuff is good.
Mm,
I know that I make good art. So
yeah.
but saying that is pretty hard for me to get it
Say
out
it
of my mouth.
louder.
Because
Say it louder.
but no, it is, and I have to, like every other
You need
person.
to convince yourself. Say
Yeah,
it with more conviction, sis. Just be like, I am worth it. I am got yeah, man. Like there
I
is no
am.
shame.
Yeah,
Because Lena, again, at the end of the day, I go back to that word livelihood. It's your small
exactly.
business. You have a family. I mean, anyone who says, "Oh, but it's just no." No, I am sorry. People have families to look after. And in this day and age, everyone's out there doing the hard yards, grind. People are trying to get their businesses up and running. They're looking at longevity. And part of that is saying,
Yeah,
okay, at some point, I do need to say, what am I worth? Oh, I'm
yeah,
definitely worth more than this. And our people, I feel like if you don't toe that line with them, they're just gonna keep being let off, sending those DMs like
yeah.
5 units. What is that?
And that's one of the great things with the Maketi, like being
Mm,
able to be be there in person and being able to like share my story. So when I tell people that I hand carve everything and
mm,
I hand print everything, like everything is like 100% handmade. Like
mm,
it really is handmade. I see them look at my works differently, and I see
mm,
them look at it with more appreciation when they realize like, oh wow. So that's one of the great things with Maketi Moana is that people actually get to come in, and like I said, we get to have these conversations and they get to
mm.
learn more about what we do, and they walk away with a better understanding and a better appreciation of it, of what we do.
I really wanted to talk about the initiative by Renew Australia and Campbelltown City.
Oh,
So, they were providing local artists and creatives with the opportunity to showcase their work in public spaces. And you are one of the artists that were featured. I mean, tell us about that opportunity because it looked amazing, eh? I was just like, oh, I need to go to Campbelltown so I can check this out. But no, like I was like, oh, it's too far. But can you share about that opportunity? Amazing.
yeah, it's we're still working together, and I don't want to let on too much about
Yep.
what we're doing, but what projects we're hopefully working on. But with those particular artworks, yeah. When they asked me if I would be willing to allow them to showcase my works on the windows, I was like, oh yes, you know, I was stoked. I was so happy. But to actually see it in person, I was not did not expect that. We were just completely blown away, and I think I shared in my post, I just started crying.
Mm.
So it
How
it
cool.
was amazing, yeah. And just being able to, like I said, being able to have my children come in and see it and see my name on the wall, and it's still pinching myself. It's been an amazing opportunity. So
Mm.
yeah, really totally grateful.
A response from family and friends?
Yeah, they're really great response. They're blown away as well, and yeah, really proud. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm excited to hear. I mean, obviously there are projects in the works that you cannot talk about, but it's so cool to know that, you know, your collaboration thing is still going
Yeah,
on and that
yeah,
we'll be looking out for that. If you are watching or listening right now, you need to check the bio, click on the links. I have posted Noelle's socials in there, Ula&HerBrothers. Check out her Etsy shop online. Check out
yeah.
her page. Seriously, fam, if you're watching, click the links in the bio. Follow her, share her work. It's just beautiful.
Thank
Absolutely beautiful. Well, I want to talk about social media platforms, and obviously as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, you know, that is part of Ula&HerBrothers, right? Putting your work out there. Like, how are you? Yeah, I mean, how has that part of your journey been? You know, putting yourself out there on
Yeah,
social media.
yeah. Like I was saying, I don't like, I'm not very comfortable being in front of the camera. I'm very much a behind the scenes person, and I'm very much an introvert. So but having to like constantly put myself out there, and you know, our people, we're taught to be humble, and I always feel like, oh, I'm showing off, you know, every time I post, but then I realize, oh, I have to, it's my business, you know, this is what I have to do. It's part and parcel of the job. But in saying that, also I've just been able to have this wonderful community on social media, like meeting you and meeting other printmakers and, you know, other business owners, other Pacifica, like-minded Pacifica people on social media, and that's been a really wonderful thing for me to like to have discovered this really amazing community on social
Hmm.
media. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I love what you post. Like, you're doing a great job. I know, like you said, you know, it is kind of, you don't want to toot your horn. Actually, our people in general, you know, we don't really want to be tooting our horn or putting ourselves out there. But I think you're doing a fantastic job. Never easy, but you know, as you've mentioned, just those connections that you've made with other artists, like-minded
Yeah.
people like yourselves, you know, really pushing to put their craft out there. It's so cool. So keep up the great work. I actually, at this point, want to shout out Maketi Moana, Pasifika Makers Market. What has that part of your journey been like?
It's been amazing so far. So we've had 3 marketees. So I so here in Sydney, there aren't many opportunities for Pasifika makers and artists to showcase their works. So the only other opportunities that are available here, like the Samoa Day, Tonga Day, Fiji Day, and those, you know, those events are amazing, but they're very, you know, the focus is on the entertainment and food,
Mm,
but there's nothing really here for creatives. So this was something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. But because I'm so shy, it took me a long time,
mm,
especially having to like to reach out to people, to reach out to other businesses, and yeah, like I said, it's something that I wanted to do for a long time, and and like I said, there aren't many opportunities here in Sydney, and I thought, you know, rather than continuing to wait around for something to happen, I need to make it happen. So that's why I founded and organized Maketi Moana, and like I said, it's been really wonderful. Like so far, just meeting all these new creatives, all these Pasifika makers here in Sydney, and we're having our 4th Maketi in April, and a lot of our store holders, it was the first time that they've ever showcased their works, and they were very, very nervous. And but on the actual days itself, the response from the community was just amazing, you know, and people were like, we need this, you know, we need to have this here in Sydney. So it's the response has been really wonderful and really just so positive.
I love that you started that project or initiative, because when I see the posts that highlight the small businesses, I mean, the quality of the work, hello. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I'm just like, this is so cool. And on that, I was wondering, are there plans to perhaps, maybe long-term plan for Maketi Moana to, I don't know, like go to other parts of Australia, or at least collaborate or network with other small businesses, other, you know, uh,
yeah.
yeah, like around Australia, or is that kind of far off? Like,
No, we're definitely looking at it. Like I've had a lot of messages, a lot of inquiries from people asking, am I going to bring this to Brisbane? Can I bring this to
mm,
Melbourne? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. We're working towards it. Like I said, we're still very new, and it's I'm a creative, you know, the whole business thing is not my thing. So um, organizing everything, and it's been a real learning curve for me. I've learned so much, um, you know, navigating these different spaces that not that was never familiar with before. So it's you know, it's I've learned a lot, and it's been a real eye opener. And but no, there's definitely plans to take it up to Brisbane and Melbourne. Yeah.
nice. Watch the space, fam. Watch the space. It's coming. We are growing and building community here. Absolutely love to see it. I was wondering, when people come to the Maketi Moana, is it, uh, are there people from other communities? Like, is it just Pacifica that come, or are we getting noticed by other, other ethnic groups and other community groups that come along to support?
Um, yeah, we've had like with our last Maketi in December, we had a very, very diverse um, groups of people coming in throughout the day. So that was really lovely to see. So so not just Pacifica, but yeah, there were definitely a lot of other uh, other ethnicities, sorry, that came
Mm,
in throughout the day. So that was that's been really great, and just
mm,
being able to showcase our works and introduce our works to some of these people who weren't you'd never seen some of, you know, the stuff that we make. So that was really great. It's been really great.
I was wondering if you had to do a public service announcement, PSA, on the Reads with Rosa podcast for Maketi Moana. What might you say to people who are watching and listening but are in Sydney?
Well, one of the things with Maketi Moana that was really important for me as an artist was bringing specifically Pacific art into the community. You know, I know that a lot of our people aren't able to easily access trips to art galleries or
Mm,
museums, those sorts of spaces. So I just wanted to bring it into the community and have, especially our children, our kids, come in and see Pacific artists Pacific Makers and Pacific creatives and know that this is something that they can do, and just and be able to have them come in and see it in person, to pick up the works, to touch it and talk to us and have a conversation and start that conversation with our young ones. So my goal is to hopefully foster and instill a love of the visual arts, especially for our young ones, and especially to appreciate Pasifika makers, creatives, and small businesses here in Sydney.
I love that. It made me think about, you mentioned art galleries, and I was wondering, do we have artists who are showcasing work in art galleries? Like, have you seen that? Uh,
Here in
yeah,
here in
yeah.
Sydney,
Like, do
yeah,
we have?
there are a few, not
Mm,
many, at all.
mm,
I think just recently in the Campbelltown Arts Centre, there's it's actually an ongoing exhibition at the moment by Tali Tuita, a Tongan Australian artist, well, born here in Australia, but now I think he works primarily in New Zealand. But no, not really. You don't see a lot of, not like back home in Auckland. There aren't many opportunities here in Sydney.
Yeah, the art scene in general, whether it be performing arts or music or the visual arts, uh, is there a scene for Pacifica creatives, or is it really just pockets and groups of you, like, kind of setting up?
I think so. I think just more.
So no collective or network where you kind of like meet every so often to, from the different.
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, not
Mm.
that I know of. Maybe there is, but I don't. I'm not aware of any. Yeah.
Okay, so we've had some folks from Sydney, authors. We've had some filmmakers. We've had some just amazing folks like yourself, Noelle. So, if you are listening in, if you are watching this on YouTube, you all need to get connected because I'm getting excited. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so I've had Gabriel on the show. I've had Christina on the show. I mean, now we've got Noelle on the show. I've had Sela on the show. I mean, you all need to be out there collaborating and educating and just building community together. I love it. Love to see it. I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. We did have Gabriel at our very first Maketi. So
Okay.
he had a stall with our first Maketi with this book.
Yes.
Which is such a really beautiful book. We have a copy, and I've read it with my little one. So so that was great having Gabriel there.
Yes, there are so many talented folks out there in Sydney, fam. If you are tuning in, if you see the bio, click on Maketi Moana. You got to follow it. If you can get out there to the next Maketi, support local, support Pacifica artists, support Pacifica writers, support Pacifica creators, man. I can't say it enough. People like yourselves, Noelle, like just creating, but also telling your story, sharing your narrative. We don't need people out there sharing our stories. We need people like yourself, creatives and artists, our own people, sharing those skills and those talents with our young people. So absolutely love to see it. But I did want to ask you, I was thinking about young people and programs, like within Campbelltown, like where you live. Have you ever thought about like running maybe a session or, at the local community center? Like, have you thought about something like that just with like young kids, or the youth, maybe a group of you?
Yeah, I actually have that in the works.
Oh.
So I'm working on making workshops just like an introduction to printmaking for children. So with my youngest, with my little one Ula, she has her own set of carving tools and her own rubber carving blocks, and she carves beside me. So that has been something that I've been wanting to do, and I'm actually working on it now. So, but offering free workshops for children, like an introduction to printmaking, and also a way of, as well as teaching them about Pacific designs and Pacific motifs. Getting to learn the names of the designs that they may see on siapo and on tatatau. So it's one thing to like look at those and admire it, but it's another thing to be able to go, oh, I know what that design means. I know what that motif is. So that's what I'm planning. Yeah.
Is there funding available for groups to access and resources? And
there is funding. There are some grants available. It's not like back home though. It's very, very competitive here, from what I've gathered. But there are some funds available. But that's something that I'm tapping into at the moment. Yeah.
I did forget to ask earlier. I was wondering if you could take us through some of your the work that you create. For those who might be curious and interested about some of your creations.
First of all, everything that I make is hand carved. So I hand carve everything, and I hand print everything from fine art prints, lino cut prints, to textiles, to I have my own line of stationery, greeting cards, and books, and I also do earrings, wooden earrings like these that I have here on at the moment. So that's basically my body of work.
I really like the Christmas, around Christmas time, and you've got
the
like
ornaments.
the ornaments. Okay. That is super cool. Like, that is very cool. And I'm always like looking, and then you're like sold out, and I'm like, like, because they go really, it's so popular,
they
right?
Do, they do, and it's amazing. And but every year, because I have new designs every year. So I think it's been for the last 5 years that I've put out the ornaments. So I change my designs every year, and every year I tell myself, please start in at least in May. So by the time I can release them for Christmas, they're done. But no, I never do. So I'm I'll be rushing it. I'm no sleep, like I said. I'm up all night, just because I hand paint everything. I hand paint them all, and by the time I'm done, I'm just sick of it.
Do any of your kids, are they really good at? I mean, I know you mentioned Ula's got her own little set, but are they like naturally like, good artists?
No, they don't really have much of an interest in art. Just my little one. Yeah, she's always making. She's always creating. Yeah,
that's so cool. How long has Ula and her brothers? Like, when did you start your venture and small business?
I think 2017.
Wow.
I think that's when I started, and it was very slow start. That's when I sat down and thought, okay, I'm gonna give this a go and try it out. But I think it was August 2017. So it was a slow start, but then it's the momentum started building, and then now here I am.
And here you are.
It's been going, it's been going okay. Yeah.
I was wondering about because I know obviously you sell online, but has there been interest? Like, I know Auckland, right? There's lots of different shops that you can like sell things through, like Pacific Highland stores, and I was wondering, is there something like that? Like, are there island stores where you live? And have you ever thought about selling your work, your creations there, your art there, or is it really everything is made to the order for you? Like, there's no like kind of like I might sell something in this local store, or are there opportunities for that or not so much?
Not so much, not so much here.
Mm.
Moana Fresh in Auckland stock
Yes.
work, which is awesome. But here in Sydney, no, not so much. But one of the things that I'm working towards is my own store, like my own physical Mosha store. So that's one of the things that we're working towards this year. So I will not only be, selling my own work, stocking my own works, but I want to be able to stock other creatives and other makers in my store. So yeah, so fingers crossed.
We are manifesting this, everyone. We
Yes,
are
yes,
hoping for
yes.
the best, and that is so exciting. Even more so, I love your heart for community. Like I was just like, she's gonna say it, she's gonna say it. Yes, she's gonna stock other, like that heart for bringing community together. And really, it's really, I don't know. It's not. Yes, of course, it's about you, your dream, but just uplifting other people. I mean, I'm so here for
Yes.
that. You are
I,
amazing. Yeah.
I there's there's room for everyone. There's room for all of us, and and there's so many other makers and creators, especially businesses that I've met through Maketi Moana, who are amazing. Their
Mm.
works are amazing, and like I always say to my husband, I can't wait to have this person's works and this person's works in my store. So hopefully, yeah.
If you are watching this, if you are listening, go to the bio, click follow Maketi Moana, of course, follow Ula and her brothers. You will not be disappointed, fam. Like, if you can help by supporting the store and buying, Noelle's work, please do that. And if you can't, you can always share online. Self care. I'm going to dig into you right now with you're telling me that you don't sleep. Self care outside of being an awesome mama, outside of your passion for art and creating, what are some other things that you love to do that, yeah, self-care, like just looking after yourself and your well-being and your health?
Self-care hasn't been too great lately, but I used to take at least one day a month, and I'd just go into the city by myself, and I'd go to the art gallery and just sit there. That was, that's what I loved. But at the moment, though, my form of self-care is that I've gone back to journaling. I used to I used to always write in my journal, like from a young age. When we moved over here, I had like bought over 2 boxes just full of all my journals from when I was little, and I haven't written in my journals for a while, but I've gone back to it. So so that's how my self-care is at the moment, like just pouring out all my frustrations, anxiety, stress of the day, whatever it is, and I just put it all in my journal, get it all out there, close the book, and then that's it.
On that, how do you, after a busy day, early start, busy day that ends with you in your studio, how do you unwind? Like, how do you really kind of like, okay, besides journaling, okay, do you have, are you someone who likes to sit down and have some tea or a coffee to, unwind, watch a series, or is it really just through that journaling, like that outpouring that's
Yeah.
Mm.
Journaling and just reading. Like I read a lot of young adult fiction at the moment, and young adult paranormal / fantasy fiction, and that's because
Oh.
of escapism. Like I just want to escape into another world, basically. So that's how I unwind.
We do not judge here on the Reads with Rosa podcast. We love people who read, and you know what? Read what you want. You read what makes you happy and gives you joy. I absolutely love that. So on that note, do you have any book recommendations? Anything you want to like plug? It could even be like, a children's book or, something, I don't know.
My ultimate favorite author is Isabel Allende. So yeah, she's my go-to every time. So anything by her. Patricia Grace.
Oh, okay.
Baby No Eyes Potiki. I just ordered the Kuya and the Spider online for my little one, so I can't wait for that to arrive. Books to recommend, yeah, Toni Morrison. One of my other favorite authors is Amy Tan. My favorite Amy Tan book is The Kitchen God's Wife. So that's the book that I reread a lot. Yeah. But at the moment, like I said, it's young adult paranormal / fantasy fiction because of that, the escapism that it provides for me at the end of every night. So I go that too, and also crime fiction. That's
There you go. There you go, fam. We have a reader right here. That's what's up. Check the bio. I'll see if Noelle has some time to to send through some of her current read. Maybe she wants to link a book or something. We could totally put it in there. We do not judge on the Reads with Rosa podcast. We love people who read. So absolutely love it. Is there anything you could, like you've mentioned, we're manifesting a lot of important projects, dreams for this year. Is there anything that you can talk about as we're like, what are we in? We're in February, we're in 2024. Can you believe that? Any upcoming projects, or something for Maketi Moana that you would like to plug or kind of like put out there for our listeners and for the audience?
Just our upcoming Maketi Moana Pasifika Makers Markets that we've got on this year. We're hoping to put on, at least 3 Maketi this year. So again, like I said, it's all about showcasing and giving a platform for our Pacifica makers and creatives here in Sydney. And it's also about providing a safe space for us as well to be able to come together and showcase our works. So that's, those are the big, one of the big projects that I'm, working on, that I'm busy with this year, just Maketi Moana, and hopefully it'll just grow and grow and get bigger, hopefully.
And Ula&HerBrothers, what's something that you're excited about as you think about the journey for this year, 2024, for your small but not so small business?
I'm excited about some new doors opening for Ula&HerBrothers, and I'm excited about, like I said, the workshops that I have that I've planned for this year, and that's what I'm really excited about.
And we here are excited too. We are excited. So if you are listening, if you're watching, as I've said right throughout the show, check the bio, follow Ula&HerBrothers, follow Maketi Moana, stay on, stay up with the with the latest, and if you can support by buying, please do. If you cannot, share, like, visibility and just sharing the work of our creatives and artists is super important, and we can all play a part. We really do. We can. So we're at the part of the show where we wrap up. I'm still buzzed that you even came on the show, Noelle. Like, I just want to say, before I hand it over to you to just kind of wrap up the show with some final words of wisdom, thank you so much for supporting the podcast, even before coming here, coming online today. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Yeah, I totally understand when you say, like, it's hard putting yourself out there. Like, even doing this work here on this platform, it's hard. But the joy is when I can bring, um, well, you are now part of the ReadswithRosa podcast family, when I can bring creatives, artists like yourself, bring on people like yourself who are just really for the community, for building community, for uplifting others. Um, I'm excited for everything that you've got planned for this year, and I just want to wish you all the best. Keep striving, keep thriving. But most importantly, just look after yourself. Where you can, here and there. Keep journaling. Um, because you're important, and there are lots of important people there who love you and need you. So, as with many guests we've had on the show, self-care is important but can be a struggle at times. So please look after yourself so you can turn up and just continue to be amazing, and to, keep inspiring us with the work that you do. I'm such a fan, that. I've
Thank
said it many times. So wishing you and your family, all the best, as we continue on this journey in 2024. And I can't wait to see what is going to be coming up for you. I will now just throw it back to you and just say, hey, some uh, final words of wisdom, inspiration, encouragement for anyone who's listening and watching us.
Final words of wisdom. Would my 2 cents would be that it's never too late. It's not too late at all. When I started, I thought, oh no, I should have tried to start an art career back in my 20s. I'm in my mid-40s now, and I always think, oh, I wish I'd done it earlier. But when I look back, I realized that no, I wasn't ready to do it back then. I wasn't ready in my 20s. I wasn't mature enough. I hadn't. I still had so much growing to do. I still had a lot of learning to do, and I guess my parting words would be that things will happen when they're meant to happen, and my my work today as an artist, I was meant to do it now. I was meant to do it after I'd had all my children. I was meant to do it after my husband and I have been together almost 30 years. So I was meant to do it now. Now that I've grown, now that I've learned a lot and evolved as a person, that would be what I want to say. That things will they'll happen when they're meant to happen. So it's never too late. You're never too old. If you have the love and the passion for it, it'll happen. It'll come when the time is right. There's a plan for us. God has a plan, and we just have to trust in that plan. And just as a final word, I just want to say thank you, Rosa. Thank you so much for the invitation, for having me on your show. I've watched so many of your episodes, and the guests that you've had on your show is so inspiring. There's like last week I was feeling a bit flat, feeling a bit low, and then I watched your shows and I was like, oh wow, like the truly incredible list of guests that you've had on, and for you to have this amazing safe space for us to come together and be able to have this talanoa and share our stories. It's been it's wonderful. So I thank you, Rosa. Like I was saying to you at the beginning, I'm very, very shy. But when when I got that message from you, I was like, yes, I'll go. I'll go on your podcast. I'd love to. I'll be honored. So I just want to thank you for this opportunity and allowing me to talk, to speak. Hopefully I made sense because I'm still very nervous, if you can tell by my voice. But no, thank you very much for this opportunity, Rosa.